So now we have the real privilege of hearing from Hoda Kotb, who all of you know as the co-anchor of the Today Show, but she really has some other additional very impressive credentials. Especially over her 9 years at NBC, she's covered a wide variety of domestic and international stories, including the aftermath and the one-year anniversary of Hurricane Katrina. The story, I understand, was very personal to Hoda since she lived in New Orleans for 6 years. In addition, she's reported on the war in Iraq, the conflict between the Israelis and Palestinians in the West Bank and Gaza, and the war on terror in Afghanistan. She's traveled to Southeast Asia to cover the devastating effects of the 2004 tsunami. Hoda has also co-anchored an MSNBC special on race called Shadows of Hope, Shadows of Hate, which was reported from Birmingham, Alabama, the former site of a Klan bombing. As one might expect, Hoda's received numerous awards, including the prestigious Peabody in 2006 for her Dateline NBC report, The Education of Miss Groves. The three-time Emmy nominee has also won the 2004 Headliner Award, the 2003 Gracie Award, and the 2002 Edward R. Murrow Award. She's worked all over the country as an anchor and reporter, including New Orleans, Fort Myers, Florida, Moline, Illinois, Mississippi, and it all began back in Cairo, Egypt, where she started her broadcast career as a CBS News assistant. So please join me in welcoming Hoda this evening.
Hello, how's everybody? All right, since I'm going to show a couple of pictures on the air tomorrow, I want this half of the room to smile pretty. Hold on. And you're on TV. Okay, how about this half? All right, and smile, wave. Hold on. Here it is. Okay, you blinked, you won't like it, but don't worry. All right. Kathy Lee, I wish you could join us, but she's otherwise indisposed. Chug-a-lug-a-lug-a-lug-a-lug. Anyway, I left my speech. I was looking for it in my purse. I left it somewhere. It fell out, but who cares? Because we're going to have fun anyway. All right, I feel it's funny because I'm a breast cancer survivor, but I feel like breast cancer is part of me, but it's not all of me. You know, it sort of shaped me, but it didn't define me. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about my life before all that. I graduated college at Virginia Tech, okay? And I assumed that when you graduated from college, you would get a job. I thought that's the way it went. All right. So I had one single job interview lined up in Richmond, Virginia. My mom had a house in Alexandria. So I said, Mom, may I borrow the car? I'm going to go to Richmond and go get my job at this TV station. I had my hair all blown out. I had a green dress on, and I had my mom's car. My mom, she's from Egypt, she was like, you can do it. I was like, okay. I got in the car. I drove to Richmond. I get to the station, and I'm like, this is good. I am going to sit there, and I am going to date him, and my whole world's going to just snap into focus. The news director took my tape, it's a resume tape, puts it in the machine and plays it, watches it for about a minute, and he says, he stops it, and he says, Hoda, I'm sorry, you're not ready for Richmond. And that had not dawned on me. I said, I'm sorry, what? He said, you're just not ready for Richmond, but I wish you good luck. You know, bye-bye, like that. And I said, is there something wrong with my tape? He said, you're just green, but I want to wish you good luck. So as I'm leaving, I'm thinking, what am I going to do? I just had plan A. I didn't have plan B. He said, you know what? A buddy of mine is hiring in Roanoke, Virginia. He said, if you want, I'll call him and tell him that you're coming if you want to work there. I said, call him and tell him I am coming. So I called my mom. I said, Mom, I did not want Richmond. I want Roanoke. There is a job, you know. So she's like, you can do it. So anyway, I got in the car and drove 4 hours to Roanoke, Virginia. I get there, I look around the newsroom, I'm like, this is okay. I can sit there and I can date him, and this will work out just like Richmond. The guy takes my tape, puts it in the machine, plays it, pops it out, and he says, I'm sorry, Hoda, you're not ready for Roanoke. And I'm thinking, who in the hell's not ready for Roanoke? But apparently me. So he said, but I want to wish you good luck. Good luck to you, you know, bye-bye, like that. And I'm thinking, really? Like Roanoke? And as I was leaving, he said, wait, before you go, I got a buddy of mine who's hiring in Memphis, Tennessee. He said, here's the rub. The guy is going on a conference tomorrow morning, but if you catch him before he goes, he'll hire you. I said, please tell him I'm coming. Now, I don't know if you guys know, but Tennessee is the long and skinny state, and Memphis is at the other end. So I was going to drive across the great state of Tennessee. So I called my mom. I said, Mom, I am going to Memphis. She's like, is that where Elvis is? I said, yes, you can do it. So there I was, across the great state of Tennessee. 12 hours later, I get there. And I walk in, I see the news director, and he says, I've got a plane to catch. Let me take your tape. So he puts it in the machine, he plays it, he watches it. And he says, I'm sorry, Hoda, you're just not ready for Memphis. And I said, really? I said, what is wrong with this tape? He said, you're just not very good, but good luck. Good luck to you. So as I'm leaving, he says, wait, before you go, Hoda, I got someone who will hire you. I was in the car driving for 10 days. 27 news directors told me no. All along the Southeast. I got rejected 3 times in Birmingham, okay? Then I drove to Dothan, Alabama. Anyone know where that is? I didn't think so. I got rejected in Dothan. I got rejected through the Panhandle. And then I was depressed. You know what I mean? I'd picked the wrong profession. It was time to go home. So I decided, well, I got to get home. And my mom's like, where is the car? Because it's been 10 days. Now I'm sad. I put James Taylor on. I'm going to drive north for a while, and then I'm going to go east till I get to Virginia. And then I get lost in Mississippi. You know how they say God gives you a sign? Big sign. It said, Greenville, Mississippi, our eye is on you, CBS. I said, my God, they have TV in Greenville, Mississippi. I am going to go there and get rejected quickly and get a map so I can go home. That was the plan. So I get there, and there's this little guy named Stan Sandroni. Hey, how you doing? I go, hi. I'm the news director. I said, okay. He said, I was just promoted from sports director yesterday. I was like, okay. Doesn't matter who rejects me. One of you will. He's like, what is your name? I said, my name is Hoda. He's like, come on in, Hilda. I was like, doesn't even matter. I'm not even going to correct him. They're going to reject you. Who cares? So he takes the tape, he puts it in, he plays it, and he watches it. He's watching my tape. I am watching him watch my tape. My heart is pounding. I couldn't believe it. I thought he watched 27 minutes of terrible television. And when it was over, he stopped it. He looked at me, and I'll never forget what he said. He said, Hoda, I like what I see. I was like, you do? I could not believe it. That man changed my life. A year ago, they said, bring someone to Studio 1A who's changed your life. So I brought Stan Sandroni. He was in Studio 1A. He was like, Hoda, I knew you could do it. I was like, really? Because you were alone in that group. But you have to look for the people who will change your life. Stan Sandroni was one of my angels. So then I hopscotched around the country and got a job eventually at the network. And the network taught me 3 really important truths, really life-changing lessons, I guess. I think the first one's probably the most important. And that one is that Stone Phillips is so sexy. So, who's sexier than Stone? Anyone? No one. There's no one sexier than Stone Phillips. I was bummed when he left. The second thing is, this job can be really glamorous and it can be very unglamorous. And when it's glamorous, it's the best. You're interviewing heads of state, you're at the Grammys, the Olympics, and when it's unglamorous, it can be pretty unglamorous. They sent us to Pakistan to do the why do they hate us story. So we're there in Pakistan and everything, there's a huge protest, things are on fire, George Bush effigy, like it's nuts. So with an all-girl team, me, my producer's a woman, the sound woman is a woman, the fixer, the translator, she's a woman. The cameraman was a man, but he was so girly, we just called him one of the girls. So all of us girls were out there shooting this story, and it was really loud and fiery. So they're chanting something, Zabu, Zabazoo, or something. And the translator, who's next to me, is British and Pakistani, and she says, oh, God, it's hostile. We must go. And I go, oh, we're not going. This is what we do. We have to be here when the commotion's going on. So she huffs and puffs, and the chanting gets louder. Zabu, Zabazoo. She's like, I'm telling you, we must go. It's hostile. It's dangerous. And I go, look, if you're uncomfortable, you can go sit in the van, but we have to shoot this and do this story. Tapping her Prada. She was upset. And it got so loud, Zabu, Zabazoo. I go, by the way, what are they saying? She goes, they're saying, get these whores out of here. I go, who are the whores? She goes, you and me. It was like, so that taught me, the lesson was always listen to people who know much more than you do, okay? The third life lesson I learned is that people are really resilient, incredibly resilient. It's amazing. I covered Hurricane Katrina in New Orleans, and that place is very near and dear to me. It's like a second home to me. it was very personal. It's the only story I've ever covered that has been really personal. They sent me to the I-10 causeway, which is where they were plucking people off the rooftops, if you remember, and putting them on this stretch of highway. And the idea was buses were going to come and take them to a better place than this. So when I got there, it was chaotic, and a lot of people, like a woman said to me, Hoda, remember me? I'm the principal at Bonneville High School. I said, yes. She said, my mom needs insulin. And another guy said, I'm the guy from Circle Food, the cashier. My dad's over here. He needs water. You know, that kind of stuff. So it was killing me because I wanted to help everybody, but I just didn't have things to help. And then I saw a woman who was worse off than everybody. She was sitting on the ground and just like shaking her head, and I was drawn to her. I said, are you okay? And she said, no. She said, no. I said, well, what happened? She said, a single bus came by to take women and children. And she said, I had my 2-year-old. She said, I handed my 2-year-old up on the bus, and I reached down to grab my other child's hand and the plastic bag that was everything else in her life. And there was a crush to get on the bus, and the door shut, and the bus left with her 2-year-old on it. And she was on the street. And I said, where was the bus going? And she said, they wouldn't tell us because they didn't want people not to get on a bus because it wasn't going to a place they wanted to go. So she was just devastated. So a police officer came and I said, tell him exactly what you told me. And she told the story. And I'll never forget him. He took his radio. There were only like 5 cops on the highway. He took his radio and threw it to someone and said, I'm going to go find that baby. And anyway, he got in the car and he drove. And it was like, I just saw taillights, but I saw like a little hero, you know? And I didn't know then what would happen later, but mother and child would be reunited in Houston. But at the time, you see taillights and devastation. So I was thinking, like, what is going on here in the city, in my town, you know? And a guy in the crowd was holding up his fingers, and he was holding up 1504. So I start writing down the number. And he mouths, call my wife and tell her I love her. So I'm sitting in my car, and I'm dialing the number over and over, and I can't get through, and I can't get through. And tears are streaming. I'm talking to God, like, what's happening? And my producer walks up, and he said, what are you doing? And I said, I'm trying to make a phone call. He goes, you need to shoot a stand-up. You're a mess. Look at you. Change your clothes. Your shirt's all sweaty. And you know how you have to snap in and out of moments? And so, and in those tragedies, hope and despair and humor are like separated by like a thin dime. So I'm looking at him, I go, all right, I'll change my clothes. So I'm thinking, where am I going to change? I have to put on a dry shirt. There was one in the car, and I was like, who cares? I'm taking my shirt off in this car. Like, really, this is like the worst thing someone's going to see. So I take my shirt off. I'm sitting there in a soaking wet bra, shaking my head. And just then, at that very moment, one bus comes by, like right here. And the guys on the bus start pounding on their bus window. And I hear, hey, news lady, we see your titties. And I laughed. I looked up and I thought, God does give you what you want when you need it. I had, you know that laughing, crying, delirium? That was happening. Humor's the thing. Okay, so I learned about humor, I learned about resilience, I learned about listening to people smarter than you, all those things. And in 2007, I needed all those lessons. I mean, who would have thought, right? So, you know, I'm sort of a Central Park running, apple eating, you know, no history of any illness in our family kind of girl. So it never dawned on me I'd ever be sick. I'd never even been to the hospital for anything ever, not a broken bone, not a wisdom tooth out, nothing. So I went to the gyno for a regular visit, and the lady found, my gynecologist found a lump, and she said, you should check that. And I said, oh, okay. I'm not one of those people who's paranoid or thinks anything is anything. I think everything is probably nothing. I'm that girl. It's probably nothing. You know, just drink water. You'll be fine. You know, I'm that person. So I said, okay, I'll check it. And she said, why don't you get back with me in a week or two and tell me what the results are? I thought, oh, she really wants me to check this. So I did the biopsy and the whole thing, and I thought, this is going to be nothing. I'm in my office on, it was a Tuesday, and I have a couple interns in the office, and my phone rings while I'm in there, and it says Mount Sinai, and I'm like, oh, that's the doctor telling me it's nothing. And the intern said, should we leave? And I said, oh, no, let's take 20 seconds, in and out. Answer the phone, and the guy says, this is Dr. Kwai, was his name. He said, not good news for you. That's the first thing I heard. And I said, I'm sorry? He said, not good news for you. And then I heard cancer. You know how words come out. You don't know what they're saying. So I hung up the phone, and I looked at these two kids, and one of them said, should we go? And I said, yeah, I think so. And she said, before I go, can I hug you? You know how it works sometimes? People just step in your life. I don't remember, I don't know this kid. I'll be honest, I have such a vague memory of that, but I remember feeling loved right then. So when she left and they left, I had, you start that mad dash crazy sprint, like you don't really know what you're doing, but you have to be, you think you're dying tomorrow, so you've got to go find a doctor and run around. So my sister and I went sprinting from doctor to doctor to doctor, and they ask you some of the weirdest questions. I don't know about you guys, but wow. They were like, hi, how attached are you to your breasts? I was like, I like them. I mean, I don't know. What? I mean, do you identify with your breasts? I'm like, really? Do you identify with your balls? But, it's weird. So anyway, I said, I like them. I mean, if I saw 20 breasts in a lineup, I could probably pick mine out. I mean, I don't look at them all the time. They might be those, but they're probably those. I'm one of these two. But I connect to my hair, so the rest of it I was okay with. So you know how I still thought the diagnosis was incorrect? You know how even after everyone's telling you, you're like, this can't be right. But they all said I needed to have a mastectomy. I had to have the left breast removed. And then I had this dream, and I don't know if you guys have ever had the dream, but it's like the perfect dream of all dreams. In my dream, I was laying on my bed, I was asleep in the dream, and all my doctors were rimming my bed, and it was so real. One of the doctors said to me in the dream, I'm so sorry, we made a mistake. Your file got mixed up with someone else's. So in my dream, I was like, I knew it, because I knew it. And when I woke up, I'll never forget that feeling. You know when you wake up and you're still kind of in the dream? And it felt really real. I said, oh my God. Like for a split second, I was totally healthy. Like completely. Nothing was wrong. And I remember the feeling of pulling down my T-shirt because one of the doctors had marked on my left side with X's of the 3 locations. So I pulled down and I saw the 3 X's and I said, you have to realize that it's the real thing. One of my bosses said to me, when I was telling my bosses, which is a weird thing too, and he said to me, Hoda, I know a lot of women with breast cancer and they all have one thing in common. And I said, what's that? And he said, they're still here. And that was just what I needed to hear before I went into the surgery. So I went into the surgery. I did the tram flap with the bonus tummy tuck. How could you turn that down? I was like, wait, one of them has a tummy tuck? So I took that one. Anyway, but I did the whole 8-hour deal where they move everything around and stuff. And when it was over with, it wasn't in the lymph nodes. They said, we got it, we feel good. And I didn't like to tell people I have breast cancer because you get those weird eyes, the ones who are like, oh, hey, okay. You're like, yes, I'm fine. It's a weird thing. I don't like the pity eyes. So I didn't want to tell a lot of people. Matt Lauer was like, hey, I want you to come and do a Where in the World is Matt Lauer? It was shortly after my surgery. And I was hurting, but I just wanted to get back in the game. You just want to forget you had that. You want that in your rearview mirror. You want to go forward. So I went to Ireland to do a Where in the World is Matt Lauer. And on the way home, I realized I had traveled too soon. I shouldn't have gone yet. I just didn't feel right. So I'm sitting on the plane, and I'm just kind of curled up, and I'm a second away from putting my iPod earphones in. And just before I did, a guy plops down next to me, and he goes, hey, how you doing? How you doing? You're on NBC, right? How's Katie? Is Katie nice, or what do you think? She's a bitch? What is she? I was like, she's nice. How's Matt? Did they get along, or is it phony? You're like, and so I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm next to like this guy who's going to talk the whole time. How you're like, oh God, I was so close, but I can't not talk to him. He goes, so what's the knock on you at work? I go, what? He goes, what do they say when you leave the room? I mean, everyone has that. Like, why aren't you Katie or Meredith? I was like, well, and I kind of liked him. It was weird. And I said, I don't know. I said, well, I fill in a lot on the Today Show. And I sort of I feel like a guest in the house. I feel like it's not my house. So I don't volunteer a lot of info. I wait to be asked. He said, you know what? Here's my advice to you. People don't ask. I go, well, what's the knock on you at work? He said, I'm ugly and I'm not very smart, but I read people really well. That's why I'm a good CEO. I was like, okay. I don't read people that well, but anyway. So he continued talking, but there was something very likable about him. And I had on one of those compression sleeves, like that one. And I had that on, and he said, what's that on your arm? I go, oh, it's a compression sleeve. He said, well, what's it for? I said, oh, I had a procedure, so the doctor said to wear it. He said, well, what procedure? I said, I had an operation, and the doctor said, wear it. And he goes, what kind of operation? but I kind of liked him again. So I said, I go, okay, I'm going to tell you. I said I had breast cancer. But I hope when you get off the plane, you don't say, hey, I sat next to this girl with breast cancer. I go, I hope there are 5 or 6 other things you think of before you think of that. And he said, what is wrong with you? I said, what? He said, what is wrong with you? He said, breast cancer is part of you. It's like going to college or getting married or working at NBC. He said, let me give you some advice and you can go to sleep. I was like, okay. And this was his advice, and I will never, ever forget it. He said, don't hog your journey. It's not just for you. He said, think of how many people you could have helped on the plane ride home. He said, you can put your stuff deep in your pockets and go to your grave, or you can help someone. That's the choice. So for Ken on the plane, this is what I learned on my journey, just 3 little things. I learned that my life has margins, and it's to be valued and not wasted. So I do say not one more minute. Like, I don't waste any time. I hold on so tightly to the things I love, and I got rid of the things I don't. I'm divorced. Anyway. It happens. It happens. The second thing I learned is, if you survive breast cancer or anything really, any big, whatever your mountain is to climb, if you survive it and you are standing, you get 4 words. You get, you can't scare me. You've already been there. You've been there. Those 4 words helped me so much. After this breast cancer business, I went to see Jeff Zucker, the head of NBC Universal, and Steve Kappas, my boss, and I asked them if I could host this brand new hour of the Today Show. And at the end of the day, I ended up getting the job. I guarantee you, if I had not gotten sick, I would not have gone in there and asked. Because I am one of those people who waits to be noticed, you know what I mean? Like, I'm sure they're going to see me working hard. But then there's a point where you say, I'm going in there. And I think the confidence that once you realize you have a limited amount of time, at least you think that at the moment, you go in there and ask for what you want, and it changes the game. And the last thing I learned, and I like this too, I read this somewhere. It says, it goes, the way you spend your days is the way you spend your life. So if you are dissatisfied with your life, change Monday, and then change Tuesday. And before you know it, you've changed a week, and then a month, and then a year. There's some people who always have the cloud on top of them, and it's like, oh, what is wrong with them? Change. It's just baby steps, little tiny things. Music was my IV drip when I wasn't feeling good. And I don't know, I like all kinds of music. This happens to be country. I'm sorry, but too bad. You're going to like it. Melissa Lawson sings this song, What If It All Goes Right? I had the lyrics written down, but I lost my whole speech. But anyway, in the lyrics, it talks about the idea about what if everything falls apart? What if the tree limb breaks? What if you lose out on love? What if all the gloom and doom? And then it turns the corner, but what if it all goes right? So I'm just going to try to play it with the help of our audio genius. Let's see if it works. Hold on. Let me see. Hold on. Okay, here we go. I'm going to try to put it on the thing, right on the mic. Is this going to work? It's like a concert, only better. Hold on. Listen to this. I wish I had the words. Audio guy. Here we go. Okay.
What if that road that you're taking's a dead end? What if love leaves you all jaded and broken? What if that limb breaks you're climbing out on?
Okay, what if it all goes wrong?
Yeah, what if it all goes wrong?
But hold on a second.
But what if it all goes right? What if it all works out? What if the stars line up and good luck rains down? What if you chase your dream and it changes your whole life? Yeah, what if it all goes right?
You don't have to like country to like that. It's like got the best message. You guys, I just want to say thank you so much for having me. I've met some of you. I'm sorry I didn't meet this half of the room. I kind of met this half of the room, but I love you guys in that half of the room too. Do you guys have any questions you want to ask? Any? Oh, maybe you do.
I'm just going to be facilitating the question and
Ask
answer.
anything.
We have in this side of the room first, Carl. Any
Anybody? You want to know about Kathy Lee? Is she really a drinker or just pretending? I know what you want to know. Come on. Ask anything. Why wouldn't you?
Hello.
Hello.
Did going through your breast cancer experience change what aspects of journalism you were interested in? Did it change what you wanted to accomplish or your personal mission with it?
You know, it's funny. I was a very, very serious journalist up until the last couple of years. And I don't know that I would have taken a risk on this kind of a show with the laughing and scratching and stuff, because I was so used to standing in Burma or Iraq or wherever. But I have to say, in a funny way, it taught me just to kind of loosen the news corset a little bit and just enjoy yourself a little. You know, life is one of those, like, we're multifaceted. We like some serious stuff and we like to laugh. You know, we worry about what's happening with the oil spill and we worry about our hair frizzing. Like, you know, we have a lot of, we're multifaceted people. So I think it just reminded me, like, don't take life so seriously. You know, if you really only get one ride around the sun, you might as well enjoy yourself, and I'm trying to do that.
Okay, in the back of the room, Claire.
Anybody? Oh, feel free. You guys are shy. I can't believe you're so shy. Why? Oh, here we go, right up here.
Hello,
Hi,
huge fan. How long did it take from that telephone call that you received with your interns to when you told your boss? And how did that go?
Yeah, I got to say I was worried about telling work because it's a weird thing. But you know, it's funny. It is funny now about breast cancer and other illnesses. I don't think you're tagged anymore as someone who's weaker. Because when you see the Lance Armstrongs and the just all the Sheryl Crows, like, I think people are in a weird way elevated. It's kind of funny, I've noticed. So although I was afraid, thinking, are they going to dismiss me and put me on the back burner, I told them quickly. And I said, I'm going to have this surgery, but I was just sort of matter of fact about it, even though you're on the verge of tears when you're explaining. But I said, I'm going to be back at this time. You know, I just gave them a kind of a solid timetable. And when I came back, I wanted everyone to see that I was good. I went and saw every boss. Because, you know, sometimes they have to lay eyes on you to realize, oh, she's vibrant, she's there, she's, you know, she's not sort of wilting or going to be one of the, you know, going to be sort of struggling throughout her time here. So I did it quickly. I just wanted to let everybody in the office know I kept it quiet, but among the leaders. Other questions?
In the back there.
Yeah. Affect my running? You know, I love to run. It's such a weird thing. And I actually, when I initially did the surgery, I was actually walking, because, you know, they do that big incision in the whole business. I was hugging a pillow walking in Central Park because it felt comfortable to hold on to something. I just did it slowly. I mean, I still right now, people don't really know if I'm walking or running, but I really am running. I mean, it's slow. So it hasn't really affected it that much. If you saw me run, you'd understand. Other questions? Somebody? Yeah. You guys just yell it out. Who cares? Yeah.
Hoda, I just would like to say in regard to running, I run every morning to your show from 10 to 11.
You do? She runs to our show from 10 to 11.
I watch your show, and I love you, and I love the camaraderie with Kathleen.
We really do have
We're
fun.
so wonderful together.
Thank you. That's sweet.
I've heard you speak at the City of Hope as well.
Yeah.
And I so enjoy listening to you, and your story is so inspirational. Thank you.
You're so sweet. Thank you. That's such a nice thing to say. Thank you very much. So nice. Thank you. What a sweet thing to say. What's your name? What's your name? Shelley. Okay. I just want to remember. I like to remember these things. Anything else? Shelley, 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 Shelley. So I don't forget it. Yeah. Oh, yes. Hi.
Hoda, as part of your post-surgery treatment, did you go through chemotherapy and/or radiation?
I did not go through chemo or radiation. Because I had the mastectomy, the radiation wasn't part of the program. Chemo, I had one doctor who said I should get it, one doctor said I shouldn't get it, and one doctor said I couldn't make a mistake either way. You know how it's confusing when, like, the three top dogs tell you different things? I just wanted to do whatever let me put my head on the pillow, sort of thing. And some people need to go completely one way to feel safe. And I took a breath and I said, could I sleep at night if I chose the tamoxifen route? And I kind of tested it a little bit, and I could. And I crunched the numbers. I talked to some different doctors, Dr. Susan Love among them, and asked a bunch of experts. And I think knowing my personality, some of it is what works for you when you have a choice. Sometimes I wish they'd all tell you the same thing, and then you wouldn't have to make any decisions. You just have to do one. But I chose the tamoxifen route.
You have such great hair. What's your secret?
Oh my God. Laura, she blows it out at the Today Show. I mean, it's all about Laura. Please. I have the worst hair issues on earth. Let me just tell you a quick story that has nothing to do with anything. I went on a date when I was younger, and my worry is that when my hair gets wet and it turns into a tree. It's freakish. No, it's weird. So this guy said, let's go on this little boat. So I was like, oh, good. I get to the boat and I've forgotten my hair products. So naturally, I wanted to kill myself. So we go swimming. I'm out of the water. I'm thinking, oh my God, what to do? He's like, let's lay on these blankets on the deck. So I did. And as I was laying, I knew what was happening. Okay? I literally got up and was like this, hey. He gave me a look that I will never forget. It was like, oh my God. And that was the end. That was the end of that day. No, game over with that. So if it weren't for Laura at the Today Show, we'd be experiencing a lot of that. All right. Any last questions? Yeah.
Hello,
Hi.
I'm Wilhelmina Grant. I'm a patient here, but I live in Harlem, and I've been putting together awareness events, and I'm planning a survivorship day in Harlem because we don't have one, and I'm going to go out on a limb here and take your advice. Would you come and be our guest speaker?
Look at you. You tell me when it is, and we'll see if we can work out.
Here's the card. It's
Look at you,
July
Jordy.
18th.
July 18th? Hold on. Can I see let me see something. Wait. Wait, hold on. Here, let me just see where my BlackBerry is. Hold on, I'm going to check right now. Hold on. July, hold on. NBC. What time is it? Hold on. It's during the week? Hold on. You know I'm doing it, don't you? Hold on. July, wait, hold on. Let me just check. 18th. Sunday. July 18th, Sunday? What time, 2? Yes, I'll do it. I'm writing it. 2 p.m. Survivor. Okay, you're in. Get me your info before we go, okay? Survivor. Can't type. Okay, done. Anything else? Anyone else want me to speak somewhere? You're going to book my calendar right here. Yes.
For 20 years, I've gone through my life with bad experiences, tragic, happy, memorable, whatever, and I've never really understood how I've been able to do that. So you gave us 4 words. You can't scare me. That explains why I've been able to go through the things I have. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that. Thank you. Wow, thank you. You guys, I just want to say thank you so much for inviting me. I loved meeting you. I enjoyed myself so much, and you guys lifted me up. So thank you, thank you, thank you.